Good morning.
Hello.
I am not sure how I possibly follow all of the great speakers that have went before me, but I will give it my best shot. The pandemic changed everything. For housing and homelessness, it meant a very same world with completely different conditions. And for all the tragedy and the unfortunate deaths and loss that we experienced as a community, it also brought about opportunity. Opportunity that's very unique to what we've done here in Gwinnett County, what we've done as partnerships we've done through Gwinnett Cares. And I'm going to share a little bit about how that all has kind of come together, but the one thing that I want to start with, though, is the collaboration between our county government, our local officials, our leaders, and nonprofits, down to the volunteers on the ground who put themselves at risk to still go out and still work in the community, to put boots in the ground to get the work done, to distribute the food, to help with homelessness and housing, to help with workforce and other issues that have come through here. The response of human services in this community as a whole is unmatched by any other community in the entire country. And I've said that almost every time I presented about stuff like this, and I will continue to say it. I don't care if it's Fulton, DeKalb, Cobb, Henry, Atlanta, Boston, LA, Dallas, San Francisco, Seattle, any of them. I'll put our numbers and our response up against anybody else without even blinking, and I know whose results come out better. But I'm here to talk about homelessness and housing, so let's get to the fun stuff. So it was day 2 of lockdown, and Randy Redner called me on the phone, and he said, "So we're going to solve this thing today, tomorrow? What are you thinking?"
You got a little time.
A little bit. Our community banded together. We launched a response system for how we coordinate processes to get people access to shelter within a matter of 48 hours. We put a Google form out there, we distributed it out through all the partners, and the responses came in. They really came in.
Yeah.
But we didn't rest on our laurels. We knew 6 months later that evictions were going to start, the courts were going to get started again. So we took the same model and we said, we can do this for evictions too. We've got partners who have that money. So we launched it again for eviction prevention. And then early this year, we took all the lessons we learned, all the partners had input, and we said, let's evolve the process again. You've heard about that. Scott just talked about with food, and I just talked about with workforce, and the chairwoman did as well. The learning, the consistent development. We're not resting on our laurels. We're pushing forward. We're making new impact happen because of what the community wants to do. Within 1 week of lockdown, we had 45 committed partners committed to wanting to do whatever they could to address housing and homelessness. That number may not seem like a lot in terms of the general number of 45, but that's more than triple what annually we have on an annual year-to-year basis who get funding for homelessness services. These organizations not only had funding, but in the beginning came out of their own reserves, their own pockets, do their own campaigns to find money to do that. And then the county was so incredible, so richly rewarding, so many new partners, so many new initiatives to move forward with how can we best address this issue. I can't thank the chairwoman and the board of commissioners enough for the leadership, the vision, and the desire to want to make change happen. Lastly, we made bi-weekly calls happen. And the most important part of that was that we got on the ground real-time data, week after week after week, and we evolved and we adapted and we helped to solve each other's issues. It was truly a community-wide effort. So, were we successful? More than 10,000 people have received some kind of a shelter service since we started this thing 27 months ago. That's more than 70,000 total bed nights. To contextualize that for you, that's 191 years worth of bed nights done in 27 months. Two new shelters launched. Prior to COVID, 0 shelters. In the middle of COVID still, because we're still in the middle of COVID, right? Still pandemic? 2 shelters have launched. Not to be outdone, more than $75 million has been poured into eviction prevention work. The chairman talked about Project Reset work, but it wasn't just Project Reset, it wasn't just HomeFirst or our collaborative, it was also work the community, money that was out there. The collaboration with the courts and supportive services. Commissioner Foscue and Shannon Candler with the county were huge in terms of bringing that partnership together to make it work effectively, to make sure we could push further than we ever had before, to understand not just the court process, but how do we help somebody after we prevent the eviction from happening, so they never have to experience that issue again. And lastly, affordable housing. We've all heard about the challenges of supply chain and construction during the pandemic. Despite that, more than 117 units have been developed of brand new affordable housing in this community. The county's consistently continued to do its rehab program to make sure we preserve our existing affordable housing so homeowners can continue to live and age in place. They just announced a couple of weeks ago a new partnership with Gwinnett Habitat and the Department of Water Resources on a new water assistance program that will also include repair and rehab. Tremendous efforts to make sure we can do this, and there are more units coming. As I was driving here this morning, I was trying to count. I was at a groundbreaking with Layla last week for her new Hartside Lawrenceville unit, and on my hand I was trying to count how many new projects she was telling me about, and I literally ran out of fingers. That's what's coming in the next few years. That's what's coming down the pipe because of the leadership of this community. But lastly, we're not without challenges. Demand is up 163% from where it was in 2020. The chairwoman touched on it, Scott mentioned about food. It's not going anywhere, we know that. The housing market is insane. Costs are sky high, whether you're renter or home ownership, and occupancy is high as well. We don't yet know what's going to come out of that. I'm not here to predict the future for you. Unfortunately, I can't do that, unless I play the lottery. The economy and the pandemic and what's going to happen next are still unknown factors that are going to impact us and have to have us evolve on a daily basis. But post-COVID, as we look to the future, where we're going, what did we learn? How do we make it better? And what has to happen next within our individual organizations, but also overall as our community? If there is one thing I know from all of this, it's that if a global pandemic can't stop us, there's absolutely nothing this community can't do when it comes together to fight through these issues. So I'm excited about the future. I hope y'all are also excited about the future and all the great organizations that are represented here as well, and all the incredible work that's gone into, the ones that are here, but also the ones that unfortunately just couldn't make it to be with us this morning. So thank you all for that.